Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. And this was made to me just now by Ringside News pertaining to Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler for SummerSlam. WWE making big switch for Ronda Rousey's SummerSlam angle. The link will be in the comments section down below. Check them out, Ringside News. During the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer noted that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler have apparently switched up their roles on the road to the biggest party of the summer. Last week, Shayna was the heel. This week, she's the babyface. It's like they do their thing where every week they have to switch this. And, I'm no big fan of Dave Meltzer, but I do catch that observation, and I have seen that in the last few weeks since Shayna Baszler turned on Ronda Rousey. Fans have been asking, who is the heel? Who is the babyface? Well, I laid out a theory in mind some time ago about this, that neither women or heels or babyfaces, but they're what's called a rare labeling of a tweener. Tweeners are basically people not looking to get the fan support, but they don't care about getting booed, and they're not going to cheat to win matches. The tweener is a very rare term in wrestling that still doesn't get talked about much because everything is babyface versus heel. But the tweener is always the best thing because you don't know whether to boo them or cheer them, and that's exactly what's happening in this feud. Because these two women are going to put on a good match. Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey, it's going to be a brutal match, but it's going to be a good one. Both of these women know each other so well. They've trained so many years. They've been friends. They've had similar backgrounds. And it's only fitting that if the stories are true that Ronda Rousey is leaving to go to the UFC, that her friend Shayna Baszler is the one to beat her. Ronda would then go off and train for the UFC, have one more fight, come back down the road, face Shayna Baszler again, and then retire from the ring. That's the way to go. That's where I see it going. And they did the right thing by having Shayna Baszler be the one to beat Ronda Rousey. That just makes perfect sense. There's really nobody in the locker room that is going to be really believable to beat Ronda Rousey and send her to the UFC. That is not Becky Lynch. That is not Charlotte Flair. Most of these women are in the tag team division. The problem they have is that they don't have chemistry with each other in the women's division. So who is there? It's got to be Shayna Baszler, the Queen of Spades, that is going to beat Ronda Rousey and then send Ronda Rousey to the UFC. That is what makes sense. That's what flows better on paper. It looks good on paper, and it bridges perfectly. And while people are having a hard time deciding who to cheer and who to boo, look at it like this. If the tweener term really is what the case is with these two women, that just makes it all the more intriguing because you don't have to boo the person WWE shoves at us or cheer for them. You have your own other way that these two women are being. It's not about popularity or who's hated. It's about these two women standing between the babyface and the heel personas in between. And that is what makes this so intriguing. And I think that's going to work very good for this match. Now, I don't know who's going to win the match personally. I mean, if the way that they're going to build Shayna Baszler up right after she turned on Ronda Rousey, I honestly can see her getting the win over Rousey, but then after the match, she attacks Rousey, and then Rousey is taken away on a stretcher, and she basically is written off TV to go train for the UFC. They play out the angle perfectly that Ronda had to go back to her roots in the UFC to get her aggression back, and then she comes back more pissed off than ever, goes after Shayna Baszler, and then announces her retirement after defeating Baszler, or Baszler beats her at WrestleMania. These two women are not just going to face each other at SummerSlam. There's going to be other matches. SummerSlam and WrestleMania, I'm calling it. And then that's when it's going to wrap itself up perfectly. The two women are going to have a long-standing rivalry. And I think it just flows. It works very, very well. And I think WWE is doing the right thing by having Baszler be the one to beat Ronda Rousey. It just makes sense. And I think a lot of people can agree with it. No matter if they're tweeners or, if they're heels or baby faces, you got to really remember sometimes it's not always about who the most hated is and who the most liked is. It's always going to be the in-between part that plays a part in the match. And that is what's working for this feud. So that's been my take on it, guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're brand new to it. And thanks again for watching. And I'm out of here.